Okay, so now we're going to look at using the cosine law. First of all, we're going to use the cosine law to find side lengths. This is the example that starts on page 340 to 341. Okay, so in this example, we're trying to find this side length here. They use the labels triangle DEF. I'm actually going to change the labels just to make it a little bit easier later on. Okay. So in this case, since I'm trying to find this side right here, that's the one I'm actually going to label as little c. Okay? Of course, if this must be little c, then this angle that the side is across from, so the 65-degree angle, must be angle capital C. Okay? The other two would be A and B. It wouldn't really matter where A and B went, so I could put A there and B there, or A here and B up there. Of course, if I put angle A right here, then that makes this side length down here lowercase a. If I put angle B right here, then that makes this side length over here lowercase b. Okay? So now, my cosine law looks like this. So it's c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cos c. So the first bit looks a bit familiar. It's similar to the Pythagorean theorem that you've done before, but it has this little bit here that's taken off. So the reason that I relabel the triangle so that what I'm finding is always C is that so that I can just always use this formula and I don't have to worry about changing the formula around for different letters. Because if I have triangle DEF, then of course the formula has to be different to accommodate having different labels. So just as a rule of thumb, just label the thing that you're trying to find, whether it's a side or an angle, as C. Okay? So now, I'm trying to find little c, so I'm first going to start off with a squared here. Well, a, of course, is 5.2, so a squared would be 5.2 squared, plus b squared. Well, b is 2.5, so plus 2.5 squared, minus, this piece all goes together. So this 2 is always here, so 2 times a, which is 5.2, times b, which is 2.5, times the cosine of angle C. Of course, angle C is a 65-degree angle, so this is multiplied by the cosine of 65 degrees. Okay? And now I'm going to work through each of these pieces individually. So 5.2 squared, well, that's 5.2 times 5.2, which gives me 27.04. 2.5 squared is 2.5 times 2.5, which gives me 6.25. Okay. Minus this piece here, I'm just going to punch in my calculator in one straight shot, essentially. What I usually do is start at the back here. Okay. So I'm going to find the cosine of 65 degrees. So to do that, I can just enter on my calculator here. I press cos and type in 65. Okay, I'm going to press enter. So it's that number there. I'm actually not even going to write that number there down. I'm going to leave it in my calculator. So I'm going to take this 0.4226, etc. I'm going to go back to the beginning now, multiply it by 2. So I'm just going to leave that number there and press times 2. My calculator actually remembers this last number and just takes it and multiplies it by 2. And then, once I multiply it by 2, I'm going to multiply it by 5.2. So times 5.2. Then I'm going to multiply it by 2.5. So times 2.5. And I press enter. This gives me 10.99 approximately. Okay? So 10.99. Alright, so now I'm just going to punch this in as it looks. So I'm going to do 27.04 plus 2.5 or plus 6.25 minus 10.99. So just punching that in my calculator. Just check it on your end. You should get the same thing. 22.3. Okay. And now, c squared is equal to 22.3. So in order to find out what C is, I would have to take the square root of 22.3, which when I punch in my calculator, square root of 22.3, that gives me 4.7 approximately. Okay, so that's how you use your cosine law to find that one there. We can go through another example. So how about if we had this one here? So 3 kilometers, 4.2, and 72 degrees. Again, I'm trying to find this side right here. So since I'm trying to find this one, that's the one I'm going to label as C. That makes this angle that it's across from angle C. And then A and B. So if this is capital A, this here will be lowercase a. If this is capital B, this here will be lowercase b. Okay, so I'm going to write down my cosine law. So C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine C. Okay, this will be given to you on the test in this form, so you won't have to memorize this. Okay, so now little a squared, well, a is 3, so this would be 3 squared, plus b squared, so plus 4.2 squared, minus 2 times a, which is 3, times b, which is 4.2, times cosine of angle C, which is the cosine of 72 degrees. Okay? So C squared is equal to, well, 3 squared is 3 times 3, which of course is 9. 4.2 squared is 4.2 times 4.2, which is 17.64. Now I'm going to punch this all in my calculator again. Remember, I start at the bottom, the end. So I'm going to punch in cos 72, find out what that is. Then I'm going to multiply it by 2, then multiply it by 3, then multiply by 4.2. So I'm going to take times 2 times 3 times 4.2. Okay, so that gives me approximately 7.79, I guess. Okay, putting these things together now, so I would do 9 plus 17.64 minus 7.79, so that gives me 18.85. And of course, to find out what C is, I'd have to take the square root of that. Okay, so C is equal to the square root of 18.85, which is approximately 4.3.